My name is Shelly Lee Dien. I born in Vietnam, and we escaped from 1982. We come in United States. I escaped by the boat.
I leave my country because there's fighting with government and coming to attack people every time.
We had to do forced labor. That's why we couldn't live there any longer. That's why we had to flee.
At the age of 2, we got displaced to Southern Sudan. We came back in the early 90s. However, the part of northern Uganda was at war at the time, so we couldn't go home.
Obviously, I'll never forget about it. It haunts me off and on, and not knowing what was going to happen on the other side. Because as a 13-year-old crossing the river as a mojado, that actually happened to me.
We're a small town. Some people might say a small town out in the middle of nowhere, but we're a place that's different, and we're different because we have people who've come from all over the world. Garden City in Finney County has really been a crossroads between cultures for a long, long time. We're a magnet for people who want to come and work and create new lives for themselves, but we've always been that place. The Arkansas River right at the south edge of Garden City from 1803 to about 1845 was the border between the United States and Mexico. Even in 1910, according to census figures, almost 25% of the people in Garden City were born in other countries and had immigrated here.
Well, my parents are from Mexico. They were born there. They were both born in Michoacan. And so I was born here, so I'm Mexican-American.
My mom was from Mexico, my dad was from Guatemala, and yeah, they both came as immigrants.
My dad was born in on an air base in the Philippines, and then my mom was born in Juarez in Mexico.
My mom's a school nurse, and my dad's a drive specialist. I really don't know what that is.
My father works at Tyson, and my mother is currently unemployed, but she has her license in cosmetology.
My dad owns a barbershop, City Cuts, and he's a barber. My mom is a RN.
You know, we all have different stories, and we're all just trying to, you know, like the American dream. My parents came here for the American dream, and they always tell me, like, we came here so you guys can have a better life. And it's like, that's what anyone else is trying to do. Like, they're just trying to better their life.
My parents came here looking for an opportunity at Tyson. We were living in trailer after trailer until they found a house that was right in eyeshot, basically across the street from Tyson.
Primero que se levantaba, iba a bañar la vaca y se comía la calabaza con leche recién ordeñada.
I don't know how you were able to work so hard for so many years.
Pues muy duro para mí, el trabajo ahí es duro.
What was the hardest part about it?
Pues no podía sacar filo, Cuando cortaba la carne, el cuchillo no tenía filo. Yo creo que cortaba más por el revés que por donde era.
Mom, why did you leave the packing plant to go to college?
I started going to college just because I wanted to improve my English and possibly get a degree. Y me permitía estar más al cuidado de ustedes. Porque podía estar en la mañana cuando ustedes salían a la escuela.
Dad, did you ever think that you'd ever have all the things that you have now?
Mija, no tengo nada. Simplemente los tengo a ustedes. Eso es lo que tengo.
Para nosotros eso es la riqueza. La riqueza no se mide con...
My dad is a serious worker, someone who isn't afraid of pushing himself for the people that he loves, and it's all just for us.
So that plant opened in 1980. That's what spawned the incredible growth.
They said it's going to bring people that are in great need, that are poor, that are lacking education, maybe lacking English, and so it's going to really stress all of our agencies, all the services. And then they said, okay, are we going to call it a blessing or a curse? They decided they wanted it to be a blessing.
That town really depends economically on that industry to a very large extent. And so people recognized the value of the people that were coming to work, that they were making an economic contribution. They also recognized that they endured a great deal to get there. I don't mean that everybody was tickled pink that there were all these folks coming. There were a lot of problems. There wasn't adequate housing. You know, there were all sorts of difficulties when you have a massive number of people coming in a very short time.
It was a mess for a while until everybody got settled. Just people swarmed here. No place to live. Schools were overcrowded. Strangers in town.
I was a member of the Garden City Ministerial Alliance, and I worked very closely with pastors from the major denominational churches. We had very good leadership. They knew what it took for a city to be progressive, and they challenged their parishioners to this fact that these people are not going away. I do need to give credit to our newspaper. Our editor at that time tried to dispel all of the negative rumors. For example, oh, the government gives them all a new car. The government gives each of them money to buy a house. Our dogs and cats are missing because they're eating them.
The fact that my grandfather was an immigrant from Mexico, it reflects on me in a way of knowing that I wouldn't be here right now if he wouldn't have worked hard to be here. He risked a lot coming here. If he can go through that struggle, then I can do anything. Garden City High School is like a reflection of Garden City, period. Because, I mean, you have kids that come here from all different backgrounds. There are over 24 languages that are spoken at Garden City High School. Just proves you how diverse it is here. I don't think you could say that for any other school in Kansas.
I am the site manager for International Rescue Committee, a refugee resettlement agency in southwest Kansas. One of the main challenges that a new refugee faces is cultural shock. Whether you're coming from East Africa or coming from Southwest Asia, you have moved to a community where you may not know anyone. You're from North Darfur, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Darfur. I have a small village called Kazan Jadid. I want to study and I work and I want to help my family. I have a big family, no one live
I have
free.
walked in their shoes. I understand the challenges, and I know that for them, all they need is to be able to be independent, have shelter, go to work, to attain the core of what they need for their family. Gives me a reason to come back to the office the following day, despite the many challenges that we face.
When we came from Africa, the goal is to go to school, and what it takes long is the life sometimes is difficult. So you have to make sure that your life is how your life is going. But my dream, I'm gonna work at Tyson and go back to Africa to see my family. But later, I have to go to school.
It didn't take very long for many of these folks that had come in initially to work at the packing plant to start their own businesses. And we had a number of folks that did that very thing, and they're still now busy engaging in their businesses in the community, and they're a strong part of the community as well.
My mom said her dream was always to open up a store, and she started off selling clothes. My dad was still in IBP. Once it started picking up a little bit more, they moved into the spot they are in now. They focus more on a Hispanic grocery store. They have their bakery, they sell meat, and they do still have some clothes.
También conoce otro pueblo en la zona de La Paz, que también tú lo conoces pasando Usulután. Ahí dejé unos recuerdos que no los puedo olvidar. Como Dios dejó el destino.
How it came about opening this place was working at Starbucks. Our Starbucks here is in Target, and I would notice that a lot of Hispanics would hesitate to go order if they didn't notice that there was like someone who spoke Spanish there. And even then, when they would go up to me, they'd kind of just describe what they wanted. Like, they didn't really look at the menu because Starbucks' menu is a little complicated. One day I just went home, told my parents about it, told my siblings about what I wanted to do, have a coffee shop where everyone felt welcome.
La idea siempre cuando se habla de negocio, que alguien quiere tomar una decisión de negocio entre los hijos, me parece bien, nomás hay que verlo, hay que pensar si es correcto. Pero como ella ya había trabajado en eso, ella ya conocía bastante de la clase de producto que tenía que hacer. Que era
Me gustó mucho la idea ahí desde que ellos dijeron que querían una cafetería. A mí me pareció que iba a estar bien.
Overall, before this happened, what I wanted to do was just run a business, own a business pretty much. But then I had the opportunity to jump in on this with her and, you know, run it. And that's what I decided to go for.
Growing up here in Garden City, working at the store so much and having the diversity that we share there, you'll have like 5 different languages being spoken there at the same time, people shopping there. It's just the atmosphere that I really love, and that's something that I wanted to bring in a coffee shop setting.
It's only been 2 months, and it's just more than I can even picture. and not just only make friends, but some of these people have become family. And it's awesome. It's honestly been a dream come true and a lot more.
These kids are used to growing up in this diverse culture. These kids look at each other, and most of them were the same kids they were in elementary school. So when you grow up in Garden City, you're used to having different folks around and folks that don't necessarily look like you.
At lunch one time, there was this kid, and he was sitting by himself, you know. So in this school, you know, you see someone sitting by yourself, you're gonna ask him to come sit by you. You know, we asked him to come sit by us, and we're just talking to him. He's from Uganda, and you know, he didn't really speak English that well. He was playing on his iPad, and he was just like so wowed by look at all this technology, and we're like, we have it all the time. It's so easy for us. He's seeing this, and it's like amazing. You know, he's like happy to be in school. So that kind of just opens up my eyes. You know, like dang, you know, we take all this stuff for granted. You know, it makes me want to work harder and appreciate everything a little bit more.
For me, I know it might apply to a lot of kids that have parents that immigrated here. When they first got here, they were really shunned a lot. I feel for outcasts or for people that are different, because I don't know. It's just because your parents
they went through it, and your parents are your family, they're your home, and why would you want to make someone feel unwelcomed? Even if your parents aren't immigrants or anything, those stories are shared with you, and you carry that moral around, and it's just, yeah, it changes you.
And I think that'll prepare us for the future. You know, we're not going to go out into the world and judge people based on their race, because we've sat next to pretty much every race there is in English class or in math class.
I grew up on Center Street. It's a really quiet neighborhood. You see kids out, you'll see people out walking, their dogs. You really felt like you knew everyone. I mean, partially because I was related to half of the town, it felt like. The Mesa clan is really, really large. So my family is kind of a Garden City story in itself. You know, my grandpa moved from Oklahoma, you know, this red-faced, red-haired cowboy, and he married my grandma, whose dad was an immigrant from Mexico, and my mom married an African American. We were known for having one of the largest free pools, and originally it was a whites-only pool.
During the day, when my parents lived here, they weren't allowed to go swimming in the world's largest free municipal swimming pool. So at night is when they had to jump over the fences.
Same thing at the movie theater, they had issues with that. A couple of my great aunts, very different complexions, had to sit separately.
I was a little kid. As we paid for our tickets and walked in, the gentleman at the door wanted to separate my sister and I, and directed her upstairs where the African Americans and the Hispanics sat. And I was to go downstairs and sit with the Anglo population. And I refused to be separated from my sister, so I called my dad.
My great-grandpa was a big advocate for civil rights there. I know he fought to make sure that everybody was treated fairly and that anybody could go to the movie theater and to the pool.
3 men are due in court on Monday after federal investigators say they broke up a right-wing militia plot. The plan was to blow up a mosque and apartment complex in Garden City, Kansas.
I thought, what in the world somebody want to blow up that apartment complex for?
The small militia group referred to itself as the Crusaders. They're anti-government, they're anti-immigrant, and they're anti-Muslim. They met up to once a week to brainstorm ways to attack those groups in their community.
And one of the hardest moments, too, was reading that affidavit and seeing the hatred these folks had towards the human beings, the shooting of a 1-year-old or an infant child that they were talking about.
I started crying that time when I see the news. First time I was trying to hold myself up, but I couldn't stop it. I just getting very emotional.
They plotted to surround this apartment complex with 4 cars packed with explosives and then detonate.
It wasn't just attacking them, it was attacking Garden City in so many ways.
Community really stepped up and really wanted to do something to show support for that apartment complex and the people who lived in it. Candlelight walks and vigils and services. You know, there probably wasn't a pulpit in Garden City that didn't have some message about coming together as a community.
We've come too far to allow any kind of a setback or any kind of regression. This community is a very diverse community and is stronger for it.
When I saw the people was coming to show us that they really love us, they really want us to be here, and they will try to be with us, it was very exciting. I feel a little emotion too, because of these people loves me, and I want to show them that I love them too.
The sign said things like, we support our Muslim friends and we love our Somali neighbors. But as I drove by and I saw that, I'll tell you what, I have never been more proud than that moment to be somebody who's from Garden City, Kansas.
So what makes Garden City work is we work together. I or my officers cannot police this community by itself, but working together, playing together, and grasp the diversity that individuals bring to the community as a positive rather than a negative makes us whole as a community. There's really no room for divide on where you came from, the color of your skin, sexual orientation. There's no room for hatred.
In Miss Hill's drama class, we've started discussing lately how sometimes you do see discrimination, racism, prejudice.
That maybe can sort of get to the heart of what Garden City is and how you experience life in Garden City.
I think Garden City's still trying to get used to the fact that we're like super diverse and that we're just trying to like mesh together in this like tiny city.
My parents, they came here for a better place, for a better future, but they still get like demoted because they don't speak English.
I feel like Garden City is diverse, but we're more like a salad bowl than a smoothie because I mean, I'm sorry, I'm kind of hungry. But okay, we all like are together in this bowl, but we don't blend together to where like we accept each other fully, but we just know that we're here.
We're proud of what's ours, but I feel like we should also be proud of the ones around us because they are the ones that pull us all in together and make us unique.
Small town, everybody knows everybody. Being diverse, and everybody knows everybody, and being diverse in it, that just makes it a whole lot better because you get to learn about different parts of the world, right? Possibly even in your own living room.
We also tell real stories about our own lives.
Like Fernando, he finally agreed to tell us his own personal story.
What can I say? I grew up with no parents, so I kind of grew up in the streets, just with my grandma. I mean, it's just hard remembering all the stuff that I went through. Every day was dangerous when I was going to school because there were always shootings and everything happened. Dang it, it's just hard for me. Because one day when I was going to school, my friend got shot and he was next to me. And just keep remembering that day because he was like here, we were talking, and then he got all quiet and was like, I'm sorry. Well, the gang told me that they wanted me to join them, and if I didn't join them, they were gonna kill me or they were gonna kill my grandma. So like I got scared, and I told my grandma, and she got scared too. So. When I got here, I found that peace that I had been looking for. And whenever I went to sleep, I was like, wow, I made it. I'm finally here.
I want to go play that one.
I want to play that one. Hey, do your scary voices. Like, do your scary laugh. My scary laugh? Yeah. I don't know if I can. Like, for real, for real?
Hey, look, that's my family. I am. Hi.
It takes a lot of people to make a world, they say. But our little world that starts right here at home in Garden City is a pleasant place to be, among pleasant people.
Garden City built a welcoming community in a place that most Americans would think is kind of an anomaly.
My father came out in '34 from Frankfort, Kansas, and started with a single counter of jewelry out here. And as we all know, a tremendous varied influx of immigrants and nationalities coming to Garden City because of the packing plants. And I'm okay with it.
I've seen many students be successful. One student that I can recall coming in at kindergarten, and she went through high school, was the valedictorian, the first to give her speech in Spanish and English in Garden City High School. And so that's a success story of a student who comes from El Salvador.
I don't like the word melting pot. It means we all come together and we're just one. We have the same identities. We have this thing with gears, you know. I show a gear working and all the people who they are, they come together to move the gear forward. But when they go back home, they get to practice whatever it is they practice.
The beef plant was built, a lot of people started in the trailer parks, but now, I mean, we are integrated. There's people in every race, color, creed in every neighborhood now. As people become established, as they grow roots here, they really fan out into the community.
America's becoming more diverse, and that's pretty much anywhere you go, so you're gonna have to learn, and you're gonna have to be more accepting and...
Because regardless of where you go, you're gonna be with different people. So
eventually run into it.
yeah, like you're gonna run into it regardless of what you're doing. So it's better to start when you're younger and grow up with it.
Well,
Well, the problem we have with immigration, and we just always seem to be at loggerheads, one side wanting to make them all citizens and the other side want to send them all back. You know, these people are stuck. Most of them are as American as we are. We can't open the doors for everybody in the world, but the people that are here, you know, we need to kind of help assimilate into society.
There's this thing called pan bolillo, and it's just like, it's like a piece of bread. My dad had like multiple siblings, and they would cut it in like, I don't know, eighths, and like share it between each other. And he lets us know that because of that, he wanted something else and something different for his children.
You know, on the lawn at the Finney County Courthouse, if you drive by, you'll see a couple of statues. One of those is a replica of the Statue of Liberty, placed there in 1950. We've had people coming from all over the world, just like people came through Ellis Island. I see Garden City as kind of the Ellis Island of the Plains.
Those people come and shop and it feels home. You don't feel like a strange people. They feel like they're welcome here.
I very love my hometown in Vietnam, but Garden City is my life right now.
The opportunity to live amongst everybody together. I mean, then after you spend some time here, you can go anywhere in the world.
When I was there at the oath ceremony for becoming a U.S. citizen, I even had to shed my tear because it was my dream and for the dream of my kids.
Cesar Montes. Gonzalo Somoza. Javier Loya. Carlos Ortega.
The cultural diversity has really lengthened my capacity to love.